Your communication hub and literary art center of Isabela. English Academy.
An analogy describes the relationship between words. Subject, verb, or teacher.
One hand. English Academy.
Good day, grade 7 learners.
Oh yeah!
Have you noticed? We are now at the middle of the second quarter. That's a great news, right? How long has it been? 4 months? Going 5? I am glad that you are learning through your favorite radio station. This is English Academy for grade 7. I am your radio teacher for this episode, Teacher Sheena Ratum Domingo.
Oh yeah!
Do you still remember our last English episode? Wow, you have a sharp memory. Can you say our topic last episode? That's correct. Our topic last episode was about the use of websites as search engines. Today, I will take you to a tour. So, don't go away and keep your ears wide open.
Okay!
I know you already miss going to school. Am I right? Which part of the school do you miss the most? Is it your classroom? Or your gymnasium? Or perhaps the school canteen? Or maybe the school library? I know many of you miss the school library so much. Will you clap your hands if you do? Don't you worry if you now miss the library, because I will remind you the school library through this radio-based learning episode.
Okay!
Does it sound fun? Are you all excited about it? I knew you'd love it. What are the things we see inside a library? Exactly. We see books inside the library. Next, what do we do when we go to a library? That's correct. We research for information when we go to a library. For this episode, you are expected to research a topic using printed information. When do you often research for information? Is it when you look for answers for your assignments? Or when you want answer to social issues you hear or see in social media? Whenever it is important that you have good skills in choosing for information sources that answer your questions. And that thing is what we are going to learn today. Researching for information happens every day. We do it every time we need it, like when we want to know what happened to a friend, or when we want to know what's the weather condition, or even when we just want to know what food our parent will cook for our birthday. Researching for information becomes more truthful if we use published and credible sources. Information sources are no longer difficult to find nowadays. This is because of the information age. With just one click, almost every question can be answered. Do you agree with that? But as learners of the 21st century, you should be able to discern which information source is good and not. So what are information sources? Information sources are database of facts or anything that might inform a person about any given topic. It can be a form of observation, people, speeches, source documents, pictures, organization, or web searches. There are three types of information sources according to format. It can be printed, electronic, or audiovisual. Can you say the three types for me? That's right. They are printed, electronic, and audiovisual sources of information. Let's talk about printed sources of information first. Printed sources of information are simply the paper form of an information. These are usually books and publications like dictionary, encyclopedias, and newspapers. Did you get it? That's quick. Let's discuss some printed information sources further. What do you think is the most readily available printed information source? You got it right. They are books. Books are the most ready to use among all printed information sources. Books cover virtually any topic, fact, or fiction. They are used when looking for reliable and accurate information. The advantage of using books is the assurance that the information has gone through the process of publication. And even with the advent of technology, printed books are still the readily and sometimes only available source of information. I know you will agree with me when I say that all homes has a book.
Oh yeah!
That's what I'm telling you. Let us have another example of print information source, which is encyclopedia. Encyclopedias are collections of short and factual entries, often written by different contributors who are knowledgeable about the topic. Encyclopedias are used when looking for background information on a topic. That's easy, right? Okay, now let's talk about journals. Journals are also examples of print information source. They are a collection of articles usually written by scholars in an academic or professional field. Journals are used when looking for references that may support other relevant researches. Is that clear? Alright, let's have another type of print information source, which is magazines. Magazines are a collection of articles and pages about diverse topics of popular interest and current events. Magazines are used when looking for information or opinions about popular culture. I know what captivates you when it comes to magazine use. It's the colors and pictures, right? I knew it. Now, let's have the last example of information source in printed format, which is newspapers. Newspapers are a collection of articles or news about current events or issues around that is published daily. Newspapers are used when finding for reliable interviews and information about current issues and events internationally, nationally, or locally. What newspaper is most familiar to you? That's a reputable newspaper. Now, let's have the second type of information source according to format, which is electronic type. Electronic sources of information refer to anything that is recorded, stored, and retrieved using gadgets like cell phone and computers. Examples of these are web searchers, electronic books, and searchable database of information. This type of information source is highly dependent on the use of computers and internet. Is it clear? That's good. Now, let's have the last type of information source, which is audiovisual format. Audiovisual resources are materials that consist sound and visual images. These include items such as television programs, motion pictures, music recordings, and slides. TV and radio episodes produced by the Department of Education, like Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela and DepEd TV, are among the best examples of audiovisual sources of information. Audiovisuals are advantageous because they are engaging and entertaining as well. Do you get that? I think everything is clear. This time, let's review our lesson. How do we call the process of collecting information for a certain topic? Very good. We call it researching. What about the 3 types of information sources according to format? That's correct. They are printed information source, electronic information source, and audiovisual information source. Among these 3, which is the most ready to use? Wow, you have a sharp memory. They are printed sources such as books, encyclopedias, journals, magazines, and newspapers. What about the easiest to locate information source? That's correct. They are electronic information sources, which are highly dependent on technology. What about the most engaging information source? That's correct again. They are audiovisual sources of information. You remember them well. Please clap for yourselves. You are now ready for a quiz about this lesson. Learners, by this time, you should be holding your pen and paper already and take your short quiz. Are you ready, learners? Let's start. Alright, for your quiz, identify what printed source of information is appropriate to use in every situation that I will give. Listen carefully and write it in your notebooks the letter of the correct answer. Get ready. For number 1, Jerry is tasked by his teacher to search for information about the life of Dr. Rizal. What printed type of information will he need to use? Is it A. Journals, B. Newspapers, C. Encyclopedias? I repeat, Jerry is tasked by his teacher to search for information about the life of Dr. Rizal. What printed type of information will he need to use? Is it A. Journals, B. Newspapers, C. Encyclopedias? Let's have number 2. De la Cruz family plans to buy a popular design of sala set for their living room. They want to search for information which design best fits their home. Which printed information source should they use? Is it A. Magazines, B. Books, or C. Encyclopedias? I repeat, De la Cruz family plans to buy a popular design of sala set for their living room. They want to search for information which design best fits for their home. Which printed information source should they use? Is it A. Magazines, B. Books, or C. Encyclopedias? And now, For number 3, Karen needs to visit her aunt who are from a different province. Karen knows that the pandemic is still ongoing. However, she really needs to see her aunt. With the rising number of COVID cases, which printed information source shall Karen read about the province of her aunt to safely arrive there? Is it A. Journal, B. Newspaper, or C. Book? For the second time, Karen needs to visit her aunt who are from a very different... And now, for number 3, Karen needs to visit her aunt who are from a different province. Karen knows that the pandemic is still ongoing. However, she really needs to see her aunt. With the rising number of COVID cases, which printed information source shall Karen read about the province of her aunt to safely arrive there? Is it A. Journal, B. Newspaper, or C. Book? For the second time, Karen needs to visit her aunt who are from a different province. Karen knows that the pandemic is still ongoing. However, she really needs to see her aunt. With the rising number of COVID cases, which printed information source shall Karen read about the province of her aunt to safely arrive there? Is it A. Journal, B. Newspaper, or C. Book? Let's have number 4. The grade 7 learners are tasked by their teacher to search for information about their lesson in science. Which printed information source best fits their need? Is it A. Magazine, B. Newspaper, or C. Book? Once more, the grade 7 learners are tasked by their teacher to search for information about their lesson in science. Which printed information source best fits their need? Is it A. Magazine, B. Newspaper, or C. Book? And for the last item, which information source will teacher Diana use if she needs to search for references for her research about the process of teaching online? Will it be A. Book, B. Magazine, or C. Journal? I repeat, which information source will teacher Diana use if she needs to search for references for her research about the process of teaching online? Will it be A. Book, B. Magazine, or C. Journal? Have you answered all the items? That's nice to hear. Let's now check your answers. For number 1, the answer is letter C. Number 2 is letter A. For number 3, the answer is letter B. Number 4 is letter C. And number 5 is also letter C. You might not have noticed, but our discussion has now come to an end. I hope that you have gained a lot of information from today's episode. Thank you for being with me only here in Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. I am looking forward for a more interactive discussion again on the next episodes. With all being said, on behalf of the SDO Isabela, RBI production team, once again, I am Teacher Sheena Domingo, your teacher on air for English Academy 7. Thank you and God bless us all.
Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon.
Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang may iwan.
Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela!
Girl, drink your beer.
Try this pill. It will make you feel good.
Wow, it feels great, but wait.
Many people use and abuse drugs. Drug abuse can damage your liver and can cause heart diseases. Your mental health is also at stake. It can lead you to anxiety, depression, and addiction. Make the right choice. Value your life. Maintain your dignity. Always remember, no is an option. A friendly reminder from PNP, DepEd, and this station.
May bagong virus na kumakalat ngayon at naaalarma ang buong nation. Para di daw mahawa, ito ang solusyon. Kaya sunding mabuti tong instructions. Maghugas ng kamay para virus mamatay. Iwasan ding humawak sa iyong mouth, nose at eyes para COVID-19 hindi na makapuksa. Mag-face mask at mag-alcohol maya't maya. Maghugas ng kamay para virus mamatay. Iwasan ding humawak sa iyong mouth, nose at eyes para COVID-19 hindi na makapuksa. Mag-face mask at mag-alcohol maya't maya. Ang virus ay nakamamatay, kaya makinig, wag pasaway. Stay sa bahay, wag nang gumala. Kung ayaw mong ikay mahawa, mag-face mask kung lalabas. Mag-vitamin C ng madalas at umiwas sa mga matatao. Mag-alcohol para sigurado. Maghugas ng kamay para virus mamatay. Iwasan ding humawak sa iyong mouth, nose at eyes para COVID-19 hindi na makapuksa. Mag-face mask at mag-alcohol maya't maya. Maghugas ng kamay para virus mamatay. Iwasan ding humawak sa iyong mouth, nose at eyes para COVID-19 hindi na makapuksa. Mag-face mask at mag-alcohol maya't maya. Maghugas ng kamay para virus mamatay. Iwasan ding humawak sa iyong mouth, nose at eyes para COVID-19 hindi na makapuksa. Mag-face mask at mag-alcohol maya't maya. May bagong virus na kumakalat ngayon